All right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, I'm your host, Adam Smith, with Just the Tips Coaching. And with me, pretty much as always, is Jen Waybor Hart. Hello, Jen.
Hey, Adam.
I'm just trying to drill that in like a mantra. I know it's been, well over 6 months since your wedding. Probably closer to a year since the actual wedding. Yeah.
10 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a slow learner. And Jen and I have a really unique guest for you guys today. And I think that in the interest of warning our audience ahead of time with complete and full disclosure, she and I have been, quote, friends, end quote, for some time. And that relationship has really developed into something more like siblings. And we treat each other just like that with the insults that aren't really insults and those kinds of things. I might have even pulled her hair once or twice when we were little kids, kind of thing. For those of you that are catching the audio broadcast, the podcast, not the video cast, the look on our guest's face, welcome to the show, Katie Parsons. Hi, Katie.
Hi. Thanks for... Maybe I don't actually. I'm going to wait on thanking you.
Okay, that's probably best. Yeah, you may not want to thank us after all is said and done, but Katie, we'll try to stay on track. We'll try to stick to the subject and know the subject is not pizza. So you're going to have to really talk about a different subject. I know that's a big one with you, but that is a bummer. But not really what our audience is here for. How you got started, what you're up to. We know you're a mortgage originator, full disclosure. And we know you've seen both sides of the world that way, retail and wholesale. I think when you and I met, you were working for Finance of America.
Yep.
Okay. And where are you now?
I'm in my living room. I'm just kidding.
Okay, boomer.
Did you ever see that episode of the dating show where it's where's the most unusual place
yes,
you've ever had?
In the butt, Bob. Yes.
In the butt. I work for a brokerage that's owned by a friend now. So Advantage Mortgage.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
About a dozen years. I had to look at what year it was and do the math.
Okay. This is obviously... Katie, how did you decide being a mortgage originator was going to be a decent career path for you? How did that happen?
I got tricked into it.
You got tricked into it. Okay. And you left your career in plus size modeling for it.
Yes.
Seriously.
So I'm glad we're going to be the only two that are entertained by all of this. But,
yeah, totally.
But it works.
Okay. Really. How'd you get started?
I did get tricked into it. By Nick.
Okay, you have to elaborate on that. By Nick.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, this is Katie's significant other, baby daddy.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had this great idea because he was a loan officer. So
right. I remember that. He is no longer.
Not currently. No.
Okay.
He's a stay-at-home dad at the moment. Because Miles was born right as the market took a shit and rates have been getting, worse since then. Literally, Miles was born March 2 years ago, which is the beginning of...
Yeah.
Okay. That Miles is over 2 years old is kind of melting my brain right now, but okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
He can drive. Maybe not quite.
We've got him working on a home improvement project right now.
He does have a new wrench. Big fan of the wrench.
Okay. Have we gone past garbage trucks?
No.
Okay.
No, garbage trucks are still huge. Anyway, okay.
All right.
So yeah, I literally got suckered into it, and then Nick got out and took a break.
and left you in the mortgage business.
Yeah, and then he started reading what was on the screen, and then he came back in, and then is only back out of it just because there's no point in jumping back in since Miles was born. Like, he was taking time off to help, and he didn't get as much time with his other kids when they were little because the career is so demanding. So he's just still doing the stay-at-home dad thing.
Okay. And a dozen years later, you have seen some pretty wild shit in the mortgage space.
Yeah.
20 and 21, Looney Tunes. The last couple of years, totally different, but totally Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you still have your hair and composure and so on and so forth.
I mean, the amount of composure that I had before. But yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Questionable. But
right.
yeah, I mean, it's been obviously we all know that in 2020 and 2021, it like the name of the game was work as hard as you can and you'll be rewarded. And then 2023 hit and it changed to work as hard as you can so that you stay alive.
So that you survive, right?
Yeah, like Squid Games. Like
wow, I had not heard that reference yet, but yes, I think what has gone on in the mortgage space in the last couple of years rivals Squid Games. I think that there's
and real estate agents
to
too. I mean,
for
their
sure.
cycles have been a little bit off from ours, but man, like I talked to a good agent that I really liked the other day, and he's, talking about his plan to survive, just to make it to the end of the episode, basically.
Right. We don't know when that is. Otherwise we would. Yeah. For all you real estate agents in the audience, if we knew when the episode was going to end, we would tell you, I swear, but crystal ball is in the shop. So yeah, it would be nice to know what those cycles are going to look like, but that has proven to be relatively unpredictable as of late. Some of that is supply and demand. Some of it is that we all question whether or not the Fed knows how to spell economy. So there are a lot of different factors that are driving those cycles up and down, and they seem to be in pretty significant disconnect as of late. And if we do ever develop a sixth sense about what that's going to look like, I promise we'll tell you guys. So, Katie, after you've been doing this for so long, a dozen years, and we won't tell our audience how old you actually are, because then they'll be like dropping the bucket for her. But where's the business coming from? I've got to assume at this point in your career, it's okay. If you had business, where would it be? Oh, you did not just do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure we're actually going to get through this entire episode, so we apologize. I swear to all of you, I'm trying to keep Katie on track. She knows me too well, so she knows she can get away with this kind of shit. And Katie, is it strictly repeat referral at this point? What are you doing in your lead gen space?
Yeah, it's coming from the same place that it's always come from. Obviously, there have been little shifts, but the biggest thing is just building relationships, repeat referral, blah, 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 and Facebook. I mean,
Facebook.
And I don't mean like I'm not running any ads or generating leads on Facebook, but I try to always have new, fresh, interesting content and stay at the top of people's feeds so that when they do need a mortgage, I'm somewhere in there.
Okay. So I do think that that's kind of where I'm steering this conversation. I do think that social media and Facebook in particular is obviously a very big channel for you, a big avenue for you. And it's kind of Aaron Dehart, good morning, Dehart, kind of leading our conversation here. He makes this comment about how you're actually a National Geographic wildlife photographer. And if we want to talk about elk rutting and duck dicks, we can. But I do, which historically are some of the highlights of Katie's mortgage career, elk routing and duck dicks. But I do think it's important for our audience to understand, because Jen and I preach all the time that your audience no longer gives a shit about what you do. And they probably know what you do. They are your audience, for crying out loud. But they care about who you are, what you're into. And Katie, your social media content as of late, and I'm talking, literally years now, has been birds and miles. And
Yep.
that's pretty much it. And obviously, we're attracting an enormous amount of audience, a lot of people that know what you're going through, that have had toddlers, that have baby boys, on and on. And then obviously, a lot of your nature photography takes a decent slot of you letting people know who you are, what you're into, what you do when you're not slinging mortgages.
Very true. And it's funny how this is really boring, but I've been thinking about it for a long time, so I'm just going to say it anyway. It's funny how similar the process of nature photography and mortgages actually are. So obviously it's very different content, but just the like all of us originate differently, all of us get our leads differently, all of us like use different systems, use different CRMs, like, and it's the same exact same thing with photography in terms of software that you're processing photos with, how you store it, how you're finding your subjects, where you're getting leads per se. So it's funny how similar the two things are, but only in the most difficult and frustrating ways. Just to like figure everything out every time. Start at zero every time. Go for it. It'll be fun.
And it's evolving. It's changing.
Yes. Oh,
it's
yeah.
not stagnant. It's dynamic.
Oh, very, very. And it's the software is dynamic. The technology is dynamic. It's a good fit. I mean, and I got into photography as a way to generate leads. I got into photography because it's a way to generate new, hopefully interesting content for social media that is not just me taking someone else's picture. Like borrowing their content. It's not me recycling other stuff that's been seen again and again and again. It's because of a conversation with Steve Green.
I knew this was coming.
That sort of triggered it, and I thought, well, and blah blah blah. Obviously I got way into it, and it's absolutely a passion, much like mortgages. And I'm good at both things because I really do give a fuck about both things. And so that's really where it's all sort of come from. But it is truly my break from work, because when I'm out in the field, like I went out this weekend and I had to focus on what's happening, and it's one of the only times that I can really put work out of my mind. I was just focused on the cheese plate that I brought and the animals that
we're all stunned that you were focusing on food. That surprises everyone in your audience. Certainly in both our audiences. And what you're referencing, and without, I don't know that I could ever give Steve proper credit for a lot of the things that have evolved and developed in our social media lead generation lives, but obviously the lack of original organic content, the sharing of content, the repurposing of content, that's not what's getting it done on social media, boys and girls. Those algorithms crave original organic content. We don't share outside links. We don't share other people's content. We don't do these kinds of things because it has an adverse impact on our edge rank. That algorithm shifts, fewer people see few of our posts. And the goal with all of your lead gen activity is to get more people to consume more of your content. If you're a networking person, that happens to be face-to-face, whatever crap is coming out of your mouth, that's your content. If you happen to be on social media posting pictures of purple hummingbirds, correct me if I'm getting any of that wrong, Katie, then that's your content, and the goal should still be to get more people consuming more of your content all the time. Snail mail, that's your content. Text campaigns, voicemail campaign, whatever it is you're doing, the goal is to get as many people consuming as much of your content as possible. And the way that we do that in social media, and certainly in Meta, Facebook in particular, is to make sure that we are doing original organic, that we are in fact honoring what's going on in the algorithm, that we're helping shape the algorithm, that we're making sure that more people are seeing more of our stuff. because that's what's going to drive more people into our audience, and that's what's going to drive more people consuming more of our content, which is exactly what Katie wants, because at that point next week, when somebody needs a mortgage, they're going to buy a house, they need to take cash out to pay for the kids' college next fall, whatever, her original organic content is what people have been seeing and what they're remembering and why they're thinking about her.
Yeah, and birds are a great CRM. I have so many random people text me when they see a bird, especially when they're traveling, and they're, oh, what is this? Oh, and it turns out those things are everywhere. So it's great to have little reminders flying around, and hopefully, more people are paying more attention to the wildlife that's out there, and there's a little bit of a conservation effort. But it really started, I mean, it's evolved as like, okay, I should figure out how to do this so that I can have cute pictures. I mean, obviously way past that thought process.
I'm no ornithologist, but did Katie just say that every species of bird in North America is basically a small flying billboard for her?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You kind of did, and
That
you're
wasn't the
kind of right.
intention. That wasn't the intention, but it's amazing how many. I saw this. I thought of you. Cool.
How many people associate you with birds?
Yeah, not on purpose, but I mean, and pink shit.
Yeah, which of course has always struck us as odd, but because of the birds you are seeking out, I get it. It certainly makes sense. I can't say that I've ever even seen you wear anything pink, but
I own some pink stuff, but I mean the pink as fuck photography has been so fun, and that just started because in 2020, April of 2020, not really going a lot of places, and there's a bunch of cherry trees near my house, and so just diving into that, and I figured out a bunch of migrants come through, blah blah blah. There's suddenly a whole string of pink photos. So every year I get into it a little further, and I see Chris mentioning.
yeah, I see Chris
Sorry,
talking
guys, the
about one of
comments are
your
pretty
favorite
funny.
things. Yeah,
Red velvet
Yeah.
cake.
way to derail the whole show. Chris, I just got Katie on track talking about some actual lead gen shit in her social media. And you go and derail it with red velvet cake. You can see
Well played. Well played.
Yeah, you can see the anger in her eyes from that. Katie, you want to enlighten our audience as to red velvet cake and why you have such a passion for it?
I can't even talk about it. It's bullshit.
Yeah. Okay. I won't regale our audience with the tale of
There's a video.
Brian bringing. Yeah, there are videos.
But I really should redo that video because when somebody was asking about it and I went and found it, I'm like, God, this is all the video has evolved so much in the last few years that it's like the sound sucks, the picture's not that good, but it left an impression.
Yeah, Red Velvet was a good social media campaign for you. The Easter eggs were a great social media campaign for you.
But so can I just be honest about something? This year there was a lack of Easter egg posts because we dyed the eggs. None of us were that inspired. It just, I don't know. Everyone was tired. There was nothing amazing this year.
Well, and eggs now cost like $300 a dozen or something.
Well, but we did it, and we did it at my mom's house. I brought a few dozen home to photograph, and was trying to sneak into the house quietly because it was right around, like I got home right after Miles would have gone to bed, and I was like, when I open the door, he always hears it if he's semi-awake. So I was like, okay. I'm putting everything right outside the front door, opening the door once, putting everything in. Instead, what I did was drop the egg. Several dozen hard-boiled dyed eggs just all over the entryway. So that's why there weren't any photos this year.
Oh man.
And none of them were that good. I was like, there's some, but like really there were no no loss. It wasn't a good year for.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I thought Adam just froze. We just booted him. It's fine.
Oh, that's fine. It's kind of nice
Yeah.
in here now.
This ADHD moment is brought to you by Ritalin. Thanks, Paul. I don't know that I've ever seen the Easter egg posts, but I do think of you every time I see a hummingbird, and considering I have a hummingbird tattoo, that's quite often.
Yeah, and the hummingbird photography trip was awesome last year. I'm gonna do it again this year. Like I mean, that's the one advantage of the market being so slow is I was able to just play videos of nerds talking in the background and just glean information while it was working. And so like I listened to dozens of hours of stuff while the market was slower last year and just took notes while I was doing loans. Like, oh, this? Okay. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that one again. Jen, what other questions do you have since we, lost the
Kicked
troll in
Adam
the
out,
room?
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't even talked about the calendar, which is how it brings
The
photography
calendar.
and mortgage together. And for me, every year, I mean, I see your calendar every time I go. I don't go to the office that much, but your calendar is in my office.
What you mean is you have a giant business card of mine
I
taped
do, yes.
into your wall. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of my smarter moves is the calendar. Yeah. So
And it's
for those
hummingbirds only this year, right? Isn't that what I have?
Yeah, and part of that is I saw a lot of really cool hummingbirds, but also I have a toddler. Like I just haven't been on that many photography trips, and so I focused on, to be honest, photography of subjects that people really like. That's part of why I chose hummingbirds. I really like them, but also they play really well. Like people really
Yeah.
like hummingbirds, and it was like, well, I have more than enough hummingbirds to do an all hummingbird calendar. So I just went with it. What's
Yeah.
awkward, can I just say this here? So the other day I posted a picture of a goose and it's just the head of the goose. And it looks like a dick. He is dick shaped. Just he's looking at you straight on and his head just goes up and then yeah. So just kind of mushroom dick shape. Beautiful background. Pink as fuck in the background, just gorgeous. I was laying down in goose shit to take the photo. I put effort in, but I was gonna delete all of them because it's like he just looks like a dick. Oh, so I posted one the other day. All of the comments in the beginning were just about how beautiful he is and how it needs to be in the calendar and how I need to have just a pink calendar. And that's so awkward and it said in the caption that he looks like a dick.
I have to look
awkward.
now and find the dick shaped.
Yeah, he jumped right out. It was like towards the middle of last week, and he just looks like a dick.
Yep.
But yeah, and then read the comments. Oh, he's so beautiful. Can he be in the calendar?
That's really funny.
Yeah,
this is in your calendar this year. Simple and beautiful.
I might go to Facebook jail because it's just one penis-shaped bird, and people are like, "Oh, please print him." Anyway, Adam, you're back.
I am. My computer froze up, so you guys get me on my phone.
Well,
samesies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't realize. Cool.
So what other questions do you have about dick-shaped birds?
Is that what you guys have been talking about while I've been dealing with tech issues? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, really, we were talking about the calendar.
Okay. Great marketing tool. Did we talk about how many Katie sends out every year? Because I'm curious.
About 700.
Wow.
And let me tell you, the printing costs of 20 calendars versus the printing cost, like if you're printing that many, they're not that expensive per calendar. I mean, there's a cost, but they come out to about the same as the postage to send them out. So we're looking at $5 or $6 a pop total. And which is like including the postage. I think the calendar cost when you're printing 700 is $230, $240 a piece.
That's not bad. Okay, so that is actually some phenomenal marketing for you. And obviously, a lot of it is top of mind sort of stuff. But where do most of them go to? Clients, colleagues, advocates, referral partners? Where are you sending these things? I mean, you probably send 3 or 4 of them to my office every year. I know Jen and I each get one.
Yeah, they're going to everyone you just listed. And I try to include real estate agents that I've done decent transactions with that I enjoyed, and prospects, clients who are still shopping, and blah blah. I mean, really, the hardest part about the calendar thing every year is the addresses, because I'm sending them to people who are moving and real estate agents. Oh man, I prefer to have their home address, because when you've got a couple hundred that are going to real estate agents, a lot bounce back and have to get resent.
I'm sure that's true. We see a lot of that with stuff that we're sending out to past podcast show guests, or people who book that 1 hour of coaching with us, or people that are in the Day with Adam and Jen groups. We send them content books mostly, and when they come back undeliverable, it's frustrating as hell.
Yeah. I see that Danny's asking about the conversion rate of the calendars. I don't know exactly, because a lot of it is just staying top of mind. I mean, a lot of it is the one time a year I leave my house and meet with real estate agents. There's always a couple who come up and say, "Oh, I have your calendar," blah 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 blah. And so and I don't know, it's not easy to calculate the conversion directly, but I've absolutely had, people who applied years ago and then were waiting because blah, 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 whatever, like finally do convert. And I know the reason that they have my information is because they still have that calendar. So, but I don't have a good answer on exact analytics, but it's been worth it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's like trying to calculate the ROI on social media or videos or all of it is just, we're getting feedback.
I got it.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to figure out the actual ROI on any of this type of stuff, because people aren't like, "Oh yeah, Katie, I got your calendar. Now I want a mortgage." Very often.
And there are a few calls like that every year, and I really enjoy this call.
But yeah, almost impossible to track ROI on something like that.
Yeah, but I feel so far that it has been worth it. I enjoy it, even though it's a little bit like torture to get them out, just because it is so labor intensive, and it's usually me and a couple other people getting them into the envelopes, getting the business cards, the postcard, like getting all the pieces assembled and into an envelope. Postage, you have to do postage on the envelope first, otherwise it doesn't fit through the thing. It's like a 2.5 day ordeal every time with several of us, and I forget how much it sucks every year. And I'm always like, they're just adjusting addresses because all of a sudden you see labels printed funny or blah 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 blah. So
is that number increasing every year? Are you sending out more and more of them every year?
I actually scaled back this year a little bit. I think I did closer to 600 instead of 700, just because I just wanted to trim a little bit of the fat, because there are some people, the addresses bounced back and they were just a prospect. If they're just a renter that's moved on, if it's a renter with a 500 credit score, I'll still try to send you a calendar, but if it bounces back, I'm not going to track you down and correct the address. So I really did a big cleanse of the address list for this year.
No, I think it's great. I think it falls right along the lines of all of you should be, whatever you're doing in your lead gen, if we're doing it in mass where it's dozens or hundreds or thousands of people, whatever the medium happens to be, you should be fine tuning that audience.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. I do.
Especially because if I were just ordering postcards that were being mailed directly from a printer, I wouldn't really care. But it doesn't seem like it should take that long to stuff all this crap into an envelope. But it's surprising.
Well, when it's 700, I'm actually not all that surprised. That's a big
When you have to
number.
put the return address on, the address on, it needs to go through the postage thing, then you got to stuff it. And you're stuffing with multiple things. There's just so many that the assembly line gets clogged up really easily. Like, hi, another huge fucking box of calendars. Here you go. So, and then we usually divide and conquer and take them to post offices. Like everybody takes a few boxes to the post office on their way home over a couple days. And anyway, that's fun. Next topic.
So Katie's local post office is scared when it's calendar time. Got it.
Yeah.
Here comes that bitch with her 84 boxes of calendars.
Yeah, they love
Got
me for calendars and Halloween.
Perfect. So, absolute apologies to everybody in the audience watching, listening. With the technical difficulties, I have no doubt. Well, I'm probably going to be terrified to go watch those few minutes of what went on without me. I can't even imagine. But I would be willing to bet that we could keep Katie on the line for days talking about duck dicks and calendar postage, that kind of thing. But we do all have things to get to. But Jen, let's have Katie on the show again. This was a long time coming.
Yeah, I can't believe we haven't had her on the show before.
I feel like I was very well behaved.
For you?
You did great. You
absolutely. Did great. You were the first of the three of us to drop an F-bomb. Usually that's me. So thanks for stealing that thunder. And I think we have a record number of times that somebody said the F word on our podcast with you today.
And
I think
probably dick.
I would say that's absolutely true.
Duck dicks. I talked about geese head dicks.
That look like dicks, right? Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Maybe you'll go back into this post. We seem to have had a lot of activity on Facebook today. Maybe you'll go back into this post and post that picture of the little Cheeto that we're all referencing because...
Oh, man, that means I have to find it. Okay.
People need the entertainment, though.
Yeah.
All right. Jen, what else are we up to at JTT these days other than duck dicks and reluctantly putting Katie on the show?
I mean, I wasn't reluctant.
All right.
Maybe should have been, but I wasn't.
No.
And we didn't even talk about all the random things we thought we would talk about today.
No, there were like no fat jokes.
We didn't talk about seizures.
We didn't talk
Just
about
saying.
Seizures, strokes.
I've never had a seizure. I had a
We
stroke.
didn't talk about scary moments
let me
at
tell you,
Mile High Mastermind.
That's true. We did
just
not
say
talk
my
about last
stroke-
year's mastermind, which is weird.
My stroke experience was very helpful last time I saw you guys.
Yeah.
It's true. That
That's
is true.
true.
Someone had a stroke, and guess who was an expert?
Hopefully we
That's
never
right.
need
Of
that help again.
all the
Let's
mortgage originators and real estate agents in the room, you were the stroke expert. Good on you.
All right. Other than that, Social Media Day Denver, Friday, June 14th. You can grab tickets by going to socialmediadaydenver.com or justthetipscoaching.com. We do have some tickets remaining. Again, that's Friday, June 14th. We've got almost all brand new speakers, which is exciting. As of right now, neither Adam nor I are speaking, so it's all new people, new perspectives.
You're all
which
very
is
welcome.
cool. I might end up talking about Canva. Let's be real. That usually happens. So other than that, you can find out everything going on with us by going to justthetipscoaching.com. You can book a free hour of coaching, get copies of Adam's books, find out more about the day with Adam and Jen. Literally all the things. Go to justthetipscoaching.com.
Cool. Thanks, Katie. I know that it had been a long time coming, and I appreciate you keeping it toned down for all of us.
Yeah, I have to say you're very, very brave to not give me any rules or anything before. I mean, Ken Perry did the same thing. He was like, hey, I need you to speak at this thing. You'll be on a panel. And then he left to catch a flight.
Oh,
And
he
just-
like left you unattended?
Yeah. And I was like, there's no rules. He's like, nope, I just need you to say what you're thinking when you're asked a question.
Oh boy.
Oh wow. Did he learn his lesson?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he
Good.
should have.
Yeah,
but I think
for those of you out there, we don't leave Katie unsupervised. It's just rule of thumb.
yeah.
So
so.
yeah,
Anyway.
pizza places have gone out of business when that's happened. So I think that one in Philly had to close their doors permanently.
Big ass slices.
That's what their sign said. Yes. And they were actually referring to the slices, not you. All right. So for the rest of you that are still going to ever listen to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage after this, you can catch us live on Monday mornings at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And a mere 48 hours later for the podcast on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. Katie, I would normally thank our guests for coming on, but that seems egregious in this particular instance. So don't take that request for Jen to put you back on the show all that seriously. She and I will have words about you after the fact.
I'm not gonna lie. If this were like Zoom and I knew where the leave meeting button was, if it was
You'd
just
be
right
gone.
there, I'd just do it. Like while you were saying goodbye, I'd just dip.
Just dip. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. Katie, in all sincerity, and I know it's difficult for you and I to actually be sincere with one another, thank you for taking the time out on a Monday morning to do this. We do appreciate it, and I know it's not easy to do in your role as a loan originator. Monday mornings are usually pretty insane, so thank you for doing it. We will absolutely have you back on the show, and for the rest of you, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.